Patrick Kindred is originally from Portland. Growing up, his childhood was tumultuous, to say the least. He had no father figure, and his mother was often off fighting her own battles with drug addiction.
For me, as a child, it was more so, especially with my mom, it was more so like she was never around. With her addiction came the non-ability, I guess, to raise her children in that sense. And so she would go for long periods of time of just not being around, whether it was weeks or 2 weeks. And so as like a 4 or 5 year old, I can't really take care of myself anyway. And so it would be my sister who was really doing a lot of that stuff for us, the maintenance and the cooking. And so for me, I think that's probably really was the most as a young child, just kind of already not having my father around and then not having my mom around. And even when she was around, she wasn't always there in that sense.
With little guidance, Kindred and his 2 older siblings had to fend for themselves and each struggled to have a normal childhood filled with school, friends, and hobbies. This life continued until Kindred's brother, who was in elementary school, found an outlet through an organization called Friends of the Children, or FOTC. The nonprofit started in 1993 and was created by businessman and philanthropist Duncan Campbell. FOTC works by connecting a local mentor, or friend as the group calls it, to an at-risk, low-income child for 12-plus years, all the way from kindergarten through high school graduation.
He wasn't really doing well in school, and so that's when he got this mentor named J2. And when J2 went to our house, I guess he noticed that my brother had another brother and a sister. And at the time, Friends was doing this program where they wanted to try to reach out to the other siblings, brothers and sisters. And it just so happened that they noticed that we were all kind of in poverty, that we didn't have a father, and our mom was kind of suffering with addiction. And so they were like, hey, you guys should join our program.
Unlike other groups, these FOTC mentors are not just volunteers, but go through a rigorous interview process and, if hired, are paid a full-time salary with benefits. Each FOTC employee only mentors a maximum of 8 kids and spends about 4 hours per week with each, one-on-one, whether that's at school, at home, or out in the community. The kids in the program can also reach their mentor by phone anytime they need help. Kindred was 6 years old when he was introduced to Carlos, his own FOTC mentor, and they still keep in touch today, more than 21 years later. Kindred says Carlos was both a parental figure and like a caring brother to him, providing direction but also bringing fun into his life with trips to the movie theater or museums or going out to eat together. For Kindred, having a person that he could rely on and talk to meant the world to him.
He really, really focused on character with me, I would say, and that helped a lot. I mean, it's one of those things that I still focus on to this day, like what kind of person am I trying to be? What kind of impact am I trying to have on others? How do I want people to remember me? You can't really put a feeling even on it. It's just like those things that when you start to smile and you see other kids coming up in the world, your nieces and your nephews and other children, and you see the kind of smiles, you think about what kind of impact you want to leave on them. And that's the kind of impact Carlos left on me. I always feel like if I can do that, whether it's showing up to one of my nephew's basketball games or going to a Blazer game with him and having that kind of impact, then I want to do that because I want my son and my nieces and my nephews and my daughter to feel the same kind of appreciation that I felt from having a mentor in my life.
Now that Kindred is in a better place, he can pay it forward. It can be hard to fully understand what many of these kids go through and how easy it is for them to fall through the cracks.
If we don't help them early, they just continue to get worse, and they end up with some of our society's worst outcomes.
That's Dr. Ross Green, a clinical child psychologist and the founding director of the nonprofit Lives in the Balance. He acts as an advocate for children who are at risk of getting stuck in the never-ending cycle of poverty, drug abuse, incarceration, and so on.
It's tragic that we have kids who are vulnerable and who are helpable, but that we continue missing the boat on them because we have the wrong lenses on and we continue to apply intervention strategies that may not be what they need.
Green believes in using proactive, compassionate, and collaborative solutions in dealing with children who need extra help.
They need us to figure out what skills they're lacking so we have the right lenses on. They need us to figure out what expectations they're having difficulty meeting. Once again, we call those unsolved problems. And they need adults who are willing to take the time to solve those problems with the kids, because it's only unsolved problems that cause challenging behavior. Solved problems don't. And the time that we spend helping these kids solve the problems that are affecting their lives ends up taking a whole lot less time than all the time we're spending dealing with them when they're out of control and focusing on their behavior. We don't want to be in crisis management mode with any kid. We want to be in crisis prevention mode.
And prevention through early action is at the heart of FOTC's mission. By connecting a child with a mentor as early as kindergarten, it creates a stable support system to fall back on as they face the hurdles of growing up in an unstable environment. Terry Sorensen is the CEO of Friends of the Children and says FOTC sometimes also acts as a support branch for not only the kids, but their families or caregivers as well.
We had one mother in Tampa. 7 of her kids had been in foster care when we selected one of her children for the program, and she was able to get all her kids back, but then hit a road bump when her car broke down and she didn't have the funds to fix it, which meant she couldn't get to work, which meant she was let go and she was going to lose her housing. And she called her friend to say, I'm not sure what I need to do here, but I'm afraid lose all of my kids again when I lose my housing. And the friend was able to help navigate the bureaucracy to get her to a place where she was able to stay in her housing. She was able to get another job and keep all of her kids. It's very hard to navigate systems when people are so close to just one crisis event, creating a cascading impact, and having somebody there to help you navigate that.
Having helped thousands of kids and families, FOTC is now in its 26th year and has more than 18 individual chapters across the country. The nonprofit finances operation and expansion costs through government grants and private donors. Critics of the FOTC model say the hefty cost per child, which ranges between $10,000 and $12,000 per year, outweighs the benefits. However, Sorensen says this pales in comparison to the cost of foster care, which is roughly $35,000 per year per child in most jurisdictions. FOTC acts as a permanent support network for the child without tearing them away from their home, and the data shows that this model works. 85% of FOTC students graduate from high school, whereas the national average is around 75%. More than 90% also avoid criminal convictions, and 95% avoid teen parenthood. And over half of graduates go on to post-secondary education, whether that's college or trade school.
We have recently started gathering the data now that we have years of graduates to measure what we're calling the 3 E's. So post-secondary education or enrollment in post-secondary, enlistment in the military, or employment and living wage jobs. And 92% of our kids meet one of those 3 E's.
Sorensen says it's inspiring to see the long-term development of these kids.
We have one graduate, he was in foster care and kinship care throughout his life and had a friend, and he now was the first in his family to graduate high school, graduate college, and he works for the Department of Human Services writing policy around foster care. So we're starting to get those stories of folks who have come full circle and are now helping change the system.
To find out more on the organization Friends of the Children and how to help in their efforts, visit friendsofthechildren.org or viewpointsradio.org. You can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter @ViewpointsRadio and subscribe and listen to our show anytime wherever you listen to podcasts. This segment is written and produced by Amira Zaveri. I'm Gary Price.
Trying to sell your old car? Instead, donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind. Pickup is free and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-835-1478. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats, whether they run or not. Donate your vehicle and you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to over 50 locations. Call 1-800-835-1478. That's 1-800-835-1478.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, please call this toll-free number right now. 800-279-0419. That's 800-279-0419. By calling your addiction team, you're taking the first steps to recovery. Don't fight addiction alone. Their advisors are ready to take your call. Your future is still a bright place. The help you need could be one call away. 800-279-0419. That's 800-279-0419. This call is completely confidential, and if you have private insurance, there could be little to no cost to you. Even if you've already been to treatment, give us a call. There's no need to let addiction ruin your life. Take the first step now. Call your addiction team at 800-279-0419. That's 800-279-0419. Make the free call now. 800-279-0419. Your addiction team is a third-party advertiser for various treatment centers and placement networks. Individual results will vary. Visit youraddictionteam.com/terms for more information.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention military vets and current soldiers who served between 2002 to 2016. Have you or a loved one suffered hearing loss or tinnitus after serving or while serving in the U.S. Armed Forces? You may be entitled to compensation. 3M, the manufacturer of earplugs made for combat, recently paid the government $9.1 million to settle a False Claims Act case for knowingly selling these defective earplugs for over a decade. Specifically, the United States argued that the manufacturer knew their earplugs were too short for proper insertion into users' ears, and that the earplugs could loosen and therefore didn't perform properly or reduce noise the way they should have. If you or a loved one suffered hearing loss or tinnitus after serving or while serving in the U.S. Armed Forces, you need to choose the right legal team that has the experience, support staff, and resources to seek the most compensation for your injuries. Call the Sentinel Group now for more information and a free case review. Call 800-655-6458, 800-655-6458. That's 800-655-6458.
Thank you for listening to Viewpoints Radio, a production of Media Tracks Communications. If you enjoyed this broadcast, please support our show by subscribing, sharing it with a friend, and leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. You can find more Viewpoints stories on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and viewpointsonline.net. Also, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Viewpoints Radio.
Coming up on Viewpoints.
It's just beginning. Whatever growth the hard seltzer category has had this far, I think that there's that much growth still ahead.
The canned spiked seltzer craze this summer could change the beverage aisle forever. Then,
I would rather have my teenagers learn about something difficult in a book than on the internet.
Raising a reader in today's digital world. I'm Marty Peterson.
And I'm Gary Price. These stories in depth on your public affairs magazine, Viewpoints.